Welcome everyone to Real Estate with Gwen Price, and I'm so happy to have as my guest today, Tamara Hyland. And Tamara is with Orderly Digs.
Hi,
Hi, how are
thank
you
you for
today?
having me.
Oh, it's
I,
great to see you. We met briefly, basically at one of the networking things that we all try to get out to, and we haven't been able to for a while. But I was impressed, and I follow you on Instagram, and I see your
thank
posts,
you.
and I love the work you do. So I wanted to. Because this series that I'm doing is everybody's got their expertise, and I certainly don't have your expertise, but I want my clients to know about it and how it can help them go forward. So tell me a bit about yourself and how long has Orderly Digs been around, and what is it that you do?
Okay, so Orderly Digs has been around just a little over a year. Of course, I had to start a business in the middle of a pandemic. It's brilliant, but
Yeah,
surprisingly, I have managed to have quite a bit of success despite the pandemic.
yeah,
I'm wondering how busy I'll be when the pandemic is over.
yeah,
Fortunately, there is a little bit of a loophole with home staging, which is part of a service that I do. It's not, I don't do a full home stage, but I do like an organizing home stage service. I may work with a home stager and work together, or I may just provide a smaller service if that's the only need that is required in with someone who's selling their house. So that there is a loophole there because the home staging is considered essential because it's part of the real estate essential services.
hmm
Uh, and when the lockdown lifted for a short time, I bit off more than I could chew. It was surprisingly successful. People really want and need this service, and I was quite pleased and flattered and everything else that people really wanted my services. So yeah, it came about because I guess it was call it a midlife crisis. I don't know. I felt like there was more I could do. I actually do have a full-time job with the school board. I'm an educational assistant. I love my job. But I always felt like I have a very creative side. I've always been an artist. I've always really enjoyed decorating, and I've always really enjoyed just making things pretty and special and work better. And I have a very creative, innovative mind, and I just felt like I wasn't using that as much in my job
yeah.
as educational assistant. So it was a friend who actually helped me get on this road because I told her, I said, there's more I want to do. I feel like there's more I can do. And now my
Yeah.
son's older, I have some time freedom. I feel like, when I come home from work, I'm not a teacher, so I don't have all that prep work. A teacher would never be able to have two jobs the way
Yeah.
education assistants sometimes do. So I have time freedom. I come home from school and I'm like, okay, what do I do now? I ran out of places to organize in my home and decided I would organize other people's homes, and I love it. I am like over the moon.
Yeah.
I found my superpower. I am exactly where I need to be when I am organizing people's homes. It's just so much fun for me. Most people just go,
Yeah.
what? You're having
Yeah. Well, and I so admire that. And I get attracted to people like you because you do things that I can't do. I sort of know when I see something, I like it, but I don't know necessarily the process and how to get to that point. And that's
absolutely.
why
Yeah.
I admire anybody artistic, or especially with
Oh,
your
thank you.
organizational skills. Because as I was telling you about a few minutes ago, that was stacked this high with stuff because we're ripping apart my home office. So I really admire somebody with that mindset because it is a different way of looking at going through the world than, chaos, which is kind of,
Yeah, well, I think I really actually believe that anybody can learn to be organized, but not everybody has a spatial sense because we all, as an educator, as an educator, I know that everybody learns differently. Everybody
yeah,
has strengths and weaknesses. I certainly have a lot of weaknesses, but I know what my are, and so I fly with
yeah,
those strengths. And I'm really good with spatial sense. I can
yeah,
look do a space and understand how I can make it work. I always know exactly which size container to put my leftovers in. And I've had
Yeah.
say, how did you know that would fit perfectly? I don't know. It's just, again, it's my
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
my son has that. He's definitely, you're right, because I've asked him, do you think that'll fit in there? Or if I want to figure out how to, pack a box or something. Yeah, you're right. It's a way of being able to
Right.
look spatially and understand how things fit and work.
Right. And there's no shame in not having that ability. I certainly don't have the ability to do electrical work or
Yeah.
math related things. Period. So that everybody has their skill set. And so if you're the kind of person who feels like you're just not organized and you can't get it together in terms of, it doesn't matter how many times I put things in this closet or declutter, it always ends up a mess.
Yeah.
There's no shame in that. It could just take hiring someone like me to come and help you see the vision. And
Yeah. So how do you,
well,
and during COVID, how have you been able to do that? Like still go over to their house and
I don't.
Well, okay, yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can if it's for home staging purposes. So
Okay.
I do have a client right now who's home staging. She has put her home on the market and has been advised, by her realtor that, certain spaces need to be decluttered. So so she's hired me for my home staging service. So therefore, a loophole. I'm able to be there. And of course, we wear our masks and everything else and follow all the protocols. So so there's that. The clients that have been patiently waiting for me to go into their homes to organize. In the meantime, I use this time to properly plan and source out the products that we'll need. Some clients are more than willing to just say, yeah, let's just go, let's do this right the first time and get what we need and a designer look or whatever. And so I source out whatever I can to make the space work. Really good at sourcing good prices too.
Oh, that's good to know.
I actually, there's a lot of things that I have found that compare to Bed Bath and Beyond and places like that. No offense to them, they have wonderful products, but I have found equally decent products for a fraction of the price of what you will pay there that I use in a lot of my projects. I have a lot of go-to types of products that I like to use, and the majority of it is actually on Amazon, but I think once Amazon picks up on the type of things that you're looking for, they tend to send you lots of suggestions. So I get suggestions for products. And I found some really great finds. So I stock up on these things, and I'll sometimes just show up with lots of products and that we can play with in a space because there's so many unknowns. You don't always know what's going to work and what isn't.
So when you first tackle a project and when you are able to go into somebody's home, where do you start with, especially if it's overwhelming to the person? How do you?
It can be for me too sometimes, actually. We start by taking a lot of pictures, asking a lot of questions. So what I do is, the first thing I do is I go and visit my client and we take a look at the spaces that they want to deal with. Sometimes I can see an underlying problem within the home that has nothing to do with that space. For instance, there could be a reason why there's a lot of clutter that's ending up in this junk drawer or just throughout the home, because there aren't other systems in place in the home. So when they go to tidy up, they're literally floundering and going, I just don't know. I don't know what to do with this battery. I don't know what to do with this part. You need a home for everything. So I literally have homes for everything, or suggest that they start with this and then it can come in. And when we declutter, we'll have a place to actually put these things. So bins in a utility closet somewhere, one that says cords, one that says batteries, one that says da-da-da-da. So that's kind of like, that's usually a starting point, and it's actually really a game changer for a lot of my clients. They find that having that, okay, all of a sudden I have all these places to put things. I'm floundering and I'm finding it much easier to keep my space tidy. And then I come in. We also take a lot of pictures. So for instance, if I'm doing a kitchen, I take pictures of everything. And then I go home, and I do spend quite a bit of time planning it. I'll actually sketch out the kitchen, think about where the sink is, versus the dishwasher versus the stove and refrigerator. And then I think about the best flow for that individual and their habits, their family's habits. So there's a lot of questions that get asked during the assessment because, where I think that we should put something might not work for that family because, their husband loves to make his breakfast here every morning and this is how he does it. So we come up with a plan that will work for that system. People have a harder time changing their habits. So then we try to work with their habits. I'll make suggestions what I think is better. And if they're open to it, they'll try it. And then they go, oh my God, it's so much better. So it's how we start. I plan and then I come in. I usually have a general idea of what products will need, if any. It just depends on the client's budget. If they don't have a budget to work with product, because it can really add up quickly, I will try to see what we can work with that they already have. And it may not be perfect, but it'll still be better than what they had going on. The system will still hopefully work better. And where they run into issues, I'll just have to give them some education on how to maintain it, kind of thing. So I can work with all kinds of budgets, but ideally, if you have a budget to buy the systems to put into place, it's amazing the difference it can make. And I'm not talking spending a whole lot of money. I'm talking about bins and risers and
things
like that. And mind you, the corner cupboards, those nasty corner cupboards, you invest
Neverland.
If you invest in a good quality Lazy Susan that you would probably have to order off of Wayfair or someplace like that, it's a game changer. So I don't need those.
Do you find that once they've got the systems in place, are they faithful to those systems, or do they go back to their crazy ways again?
They can go back to their crazy ways, but it takes a lot longer. And so that's where first of all, I tried to educate them how to keep it in the place. And when also part of the education is if you take these, like when you come home from doing groceries, you have to leave a little bit of extra time to make sure these systems go into place. So that's the starting point, right? When you're having enough time and you're throwing things in your pantry, you are going to have that. So that's sort of like a starting point. When I do my groceries now, I'm mindful that instead of leaving an hour to do groceries in my day, I schedule 2 hours. So that when I come home with my groceries, the first thing I do is spread everything out where it needs to go and decide which things need to be decanted. And, so I'm just not shoving everything into spaces.
Yeah. Well, as I've told you before, I will be having you come over to my place because over the years, of course, I've done lots of different things, labeled them, and some things are working, but then, you get busy, you come home and I dump paper, and that paper in my career, even though we're supposed to be paperless, it doesn't work that way. We are still reliant on, and I'm a kind of a person that's a feeling touch kind of person.
Yes, same.
I
will always read a book versus
exactly. Yeah. So there's things that I definitely need help with, and we will be doing that.
Sure.
What do you think is the biggest mistake that we all make? Is it that we have too much stuff to begin with, or what is it?
The start for sure. Now the thing is, our homes are huge.
Bigger than in other countries for sure, right?
People can live with very little, except that as soon as you have a home with all this storage space and places to put things, people always feel the need to fill those spaces. Or they go shopping, they're like, well, I have the room for it, I'll buy it. You should maybe, when you buy a nice big home, start with the mindset that it's okay to have space. It's okay to have empty spaces, empty cupboards, whatever. Things spread out, air in between of the items is a good thing. It's calming, it's healthier, easier to clean. You can find things and you're not going to waste money buying duplicates. So that is a big mistake.
That's a guilty here.
We all are.
My husband and I, oh my God, the number of things we have bought because we couldn't find it, and it's just crazy. But,
it's
too,
very
and
common.
You think about older houses, right, that were built in the 40s or in the 1900s. they had these tiny little closets. Oh, and everybody always says the same thing. Well, I guess they didn't wear very much, right? It's like, how did they survive, in other words, with this tiny little closet in a
Right.
great
I
big
mean, my
house?
house is 110 years old. I have the
Yeah.
tiny closets. And actually, if you go on my Instagram, I recently posted a closet redo because I was struggling with the space in the closet.
Yeah.
Instead of having the bar across, actually, I can show you. Instead of having the bar across, I took the bar out and I put in bars on the side
Mm.
depth. And I actually ended up with more room, surprisingly. And I can actually walk into this little tiny closet. It's like a mini walk-in closet now.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
that was recent. It was something I always kind of wanted to play with and see if it would work,
Yeah.
because you walk into these older homes that, actually people in older small homes with less storage are much better at organizing than people with the bigger homes. I've noticed that I very rarely need to really help them much. By necessity, they have had to learn to organize. And that's actually why I kind of got that skill.
Yeah.
So small.
Yeah, and yeah, I know, because I run across it all the time, because I personally love old houses. And if you're looking in the hospital area, or if you're looking in Coppercliff, those are very old houses, and inevitably the really old ones had very small closets. They just didn't
Right.
have the clothes that we wear, and yet the house could be a fair size house overall. But
So now you can tell those clients that somebody who specializes in
yeah, that's
storage
right.
issues.
Well, and that you appreciate old houses, because oftentimes I find people want to, take away that oldness, make it so modern that it loses the character. And that's what I love about old houses,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
So,
no, I haven't done that. Like you can probably tell in here, all the
yeah,
buildings and stuff. It's a very old house. I've left everything the way it is. I feel like I'm going to open up a huge can of worms if I start renovating.
well, you can. You
Yeah.
can.
So I've just tried to aesthetically make it look better, and just make sure, like, all the stuff I brought in with me, I realized very quickly wasn't going to fit properly. So I made some big decisions, and I downsized, and I don't miss anything that I let go of. Not
Well, and and you respect the character of the old house, right? That's what I hate, and I wish, unfortunately, so much of our old heritage homes were bulldozed many years ago to make some modern development, and I really think that was the wrong way to go, but not everybody agrees, right? But I love
yeah.
if you do things to an old house, that you respect, the house, and
Oh, it
think
has
about,
character. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, and so, like, what would your typical client be? Is it all different types
It's all
of
different.
people? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's all different. It could be somebody who is struggling with health problems and physically just cannot get to their clutter, but normally
yeah,
like a tidy, organized home. So I can help them that way. I have people who will hire me just for almost like an accountability coach. They actually don't need my help, because when I walk in, I can tell they clearly understand the importance of the systems in place and having a place for everything. They're just tired. They've got full-time jobs and
yeah,
families. I need someone by my side to keep me going. And so together we just, knock out a basement storage or something and just get it done. I have people who are very busy professional people, and they're extremely intelligent people, but they just don't have that spatial sense. And they're like, okay, I love a beautiful home, but my storage area is a disaster. I don't even know where to start. And so
yeah.
then I come in and put those systems into place, and those clients are a lot of fun, because they're like, spend all the money you want on product, and so come up with some really cool
Yeah.
spaces that are just like stunning and so much fun. You can't, like, we just stand there and stare. We don't want to pull ourselves away. Why can't I stop staring at this?
Well, and they are, like, I love, like I say, I love your Instagram posts, because
Thank
I look
you.
at it,
Thank
oh,
you.
it just looks so beautiful. But it has purpose. It's not just that it's beautiful; it has a purpose, and it's just
Very
that's
thought out.
organized.
Yeah. It has to be functional. Like,
Yeah,
so actually it's interesting, because when it comes to home organizing for staging a home versus home organizing for function and living. They're actually two very different things. So some of the things I talked about mainly are just for home organizing for living. If I was to go into a home for staging, for instance, it would mainly be about just depersonalizing, decluttering, reducing everything by half. A home stager will also advise you on this, but the difference between the home stager and myself is I'm more hands-on with the decluttering. I'll actually be there to help you get through it. I'll help you pack it. I'll help you do what needs to be done. I'll also help stage the home if with the furniture that's in place and the decor that's in place. I'll recommend where we need to take things off the wall and maybe just like keep it open, especially hallways. Let's take, the gallery wall, picture off and keep it open, bright, fresh, airy. The clients want to see the potential of this space. They don't care about the personal items, as you know, like I'm preaching to the choir, talking to you.
Well, yeah, but
talking to everybody else.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I would do is I would help them work with what they have. But if we were in a home that was vacant, for instance, or a home that was so outdated, a home stager who does more of a decor kind of thing would be the person to call, because they would rent furniture for you, or they would maybe facilitate hiring someone to come in, paint and decorate, or a contractor to fix something. And it might seem like a lot of money to spend, but you'll get that back and maybe more, because you spent that money. Your house may not stay on the market as long. And sometimes a home stager might even want to hire me to help with the decluttering process. And I would just, I would mind my business where it came to the decor part of it. But if you just me, I also have a lot of interest and background in decor, and I would certainly be able to help. I have actually some examples on my Instagram account of a couple of homes that I've done, and not a lot. Mainly I do home organization versus the staging, but I'm still brand new. So,
well, and I think Sudburyans are very much hands-on kind of people, and we're sort of reluctant. Well, I can do that. I can stage my home, and I think over time, probably HGTV has done that too. But over time, Sudburyans have they've accepted the idea of staging and how much it can help to sell a property.
And I have a service for that, in terms of if somebody wanted to the do-it-yourselfer, which I think kudos, because like I'm totally kind of person too, but they didn't quite know where to start, or they didn't feel like they had the expertise. What I've done, I actually have a client who's doing this right now. I went in, took pictures of everything, and did a detail room by room list of my recommendations.
Okay.
And even sketched out a few things of maybe you can take this chair from upstairs because there's too many chairs in this room, and put it down here in this room, and that sort of thing. Everything from, take the jewelry, this, that, the other thing, all the little things that I would recommend to make it look like a furniture store showroom is the outcome, right? So.
Well, and typically most people, when I meet with a client, most people we're all the same. We all have too much stuff in the room, too much stuff on the counter, and you have to make it look as clean and as clutter-free as possible. And when you're living in it day to day, you sort of got blinders on, right? You don't see that.
Right, and I think also there are homes, right? Sometimes we need an objective person or an objective point of view to say, I see how beautiful this space is, but as a home buyer, I would not care less about the cross that's on the wall, or, you really want to keep it really neutral. You don't want religious items. You don't want items, jewelry, things like that. And actually, I have a room. If you could bear with me moving the computer, I can show you, which I feel is very functional for me. Organized for living versus showing. And if I was to show this house, I already know ahead of time all of the rooms, what I would change if I was ever showing this house. If I was to show the house, I'll tell you exactly what I would change in that room. And it's not a lot, it's just two examples, basically. The
Yep,
room itself
sure.
is pretty much done. So
Yeah, great.
it'll be fun to walk with the computer because that's all enjoyable for everybody. So, okay, so here we have, it's like, oh shoot, it's not great. Okay, so it's like a little loft, which is fun.
Yeah,
Those
okay.
houses are so much fun. So I made it into a dressing room because it was just kind of a nothing room. I couldn't make it
Oh, nice. Yeah. I love,
because it doesn't have a door.
yeah.
Like it would just
I
walk right
love
in.
how you did the purses there. That's kind of a
Right.
neat way to, yeah, very
So
nice.
that's actually an example of what I would not do if I was showing the house.
Yeah, yeah.
Functional for me, it's great, but I would remove all of the purses. I would maybe leave that shelf, center the shelf. The shelf is that chair that you see on the wall.
Oh,
I
cool.
would center it into the middle
Yeah.
and remove all of the clutter and keep it very open and spacious. So if someone walked up here, they would just think, oh, wow, what a nice, clean, bright room. And then
So sorry, Tamara, are
Oh,
those hooks that you're using, are those the removable hooks that you can?
yeah, command
Okay.
hooks.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
always command hooks.
Yeah,
So over here, those are not command hooks, so I would probably have to fill some holes. They're just tiny
Yeah.
holes.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is my jewelry center. So this is very functional for me. I'm a very visual person. I
Yeah.
need to see things when I get ready in the morning, and this is how I roll. So
Yeah, no,
for
very good.
everybody, they would find it cluttered. Mind you, that wall is in a spot where when you walk into the room, you don't see it right away, so it's not so bad.
Yeah,
If I was showing this home, absolutely, it would have to go.
yeah, yeah.
Be packed away, the wall would be patched and painted and everything would be great.
Yeah.
And then on the dresser, I would remove the jewelry, any extra items, and just keep it really sparse and just, nicely decorated. And that's like the closets and everything are already done. They're hard to see though, I think. So this is the example of one of the closets that I took the bar from the middle.
Okay. Yeah.
So I would just probably do things like, sorry if you can't see.
Yeah.
I would keep things off. I would keep it as sparse as possible.
Yeah.
And open. Like before, the closet had the bar across and it was just jam-packed, such a tiny closet. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you get the idea, right? So that would be an example of home staging versus just organizing.
Yeah, no, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally, I love the ideas that you had there for living on a day-to-day basis, because I'm probably very similar in that I need to see something.
Yeah.
And that's probably part of the problem is I'm always trying to find something because I'm not seeing it, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And there are other things, there are cabinets you can buy that have a door. And you can still, they're big cabinets. One of my clients purchased one. I loved it. I was like, oh my God, I need to know where to get that for clients in the future. It's a nice big cabinet. It had a mirror on the front, but
Oh, I want one of those. That's what I was actually going to get.
So when you open it up, you hang
Yeah.
all the jewelry the way I had it there.
Yeah.
And I could probably get rid of half that jewelry. It's just hanging
I
there
know.
because it can. So-
Well, and in fact, yeah, I've got one of those old type jewelry boxes with the drawers, and so I don't wear it. I wear the same thing every day because I don't even remember what I have
Yeah.
because it's buried underneath stuff. So that was actually one of the things I was thinking about buying. So yeah. So I mean, is there any tips that you can give somebody, or what should they do?
Probably about 1 million.
Yeah.
Okay, well, again, my number one tip is probably that you need to have a place for everything. So start with maybe that central area in your home. It might not be as glamorous, but it's about having a place for everything. So maybe go out and buy yourself one of those plastic shelves from Lowe's. They're $40 something and get a bunch of clear plastic bins, maybe stackable, medium size, not too small, but also not the big ones. Like we're talking medium size bins.
Yeah.
And start going through your house and realizing what doesn't actually belong here, what maybe needs to be somewhere else. And it could be batteries, it could be wires, cords, it could be, there's so many things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you have light bulbs in your kitchen, stored in your kitchen. Maybe you have light bulbs in a laundry area. Maybe you have light bulbs all over your house.
Yeah.
I recommend, let's just get all that stuff and keep it in one place, and it's always there and it's labeled well. So you don't have to go out and buy yourself a labeler. If it's a utility area and you don't care what it looks like, you can just use a Sharpie. And I've learned that magic erasers will erase Sharpies off of bins. So you
Oh,
can,
really?
you need to
Good to
relabel
know.
it. You can just relabel it that way. So
Good to know.
so that, yeah, that's a definitely starting point.
Yeah.
And just it's mindset. Oh, watch lots of organizing shows, watch lots of YouTube videos. They're incredibly inspiring and you can learn so much. I've probably learned more about organizing than I did when I took my course just by watching videos.
Well, and follow you on Instagram.
Yeah, follow people like me on Instagram, get some great tips and ideas. I mean, I give away lots of information. It doesn't stop people from hiring me. There's a lot of people that just don't have the time to do it. So I'm happy to give advice. So yeah.
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 No, well, that's
And
great. Yeah.
I do, for the do-it-yourselfer, I also have consultations that I can do. So
okay.
really want to try yourself to do something, what you would do is you take lots of pictures of the space, maybe even take some of the stuff out so I can see what we're dealing with, take lots of pictures of that, maybe take some measurements, send me as much information as possible as you can. I can study the space, and then I can do a detailed step-by-step list of what you need to do, even starting with how to start with the decluttering process. I could do step by step with that, and then trying out different bins and things like that. I always say to people, if you're going to buy organizing products, keep your receipts, because there's always unknowns. You'll try something, you think you have a great idea, and then you, like I do it all the time, and then you go, oh, this is not quite working. So then you just play around with a few different other things. So
well, that's great, and so much information. Thank you so much, Tamara. Like, I'll be putting all of your links and information and how people can reach out to you, because I really, and I mean, yes, I'm in a disruptive mess right now, but I know there's an end to it.
You hide it well.
We got to do for Zoom, but it makes you feel so much better when you walk into your house and there's clean surfaces and you're not trying to, come through a bunch of stuff to get in your home.
You save time, you save money.
And I think COVID has taught us all that we don't need all of the stuff that we thought we needed. We need people. So it takes a lot of stress and just to have things simplified more for yourself. It's a goal, and sometimes they need help along the way to achieve that goal, and you're one of the people that can reach out to.
Yeah, I love it. And I feel like sometimes the ones who are dreading it end up finishing really happy, and they've said they've had a great time and just feel so satisfied and accomplished, and they are, when I follow up with them, which is part of my service, they're always like, oh my God, yes, it looks so good still. I'm keeping it, because we work so hard, and they don't, they just don't want it, right?
Well, and COVID again has showed us, like, people want to feel like their home is a safe place, a cocoon. I mean, if you're selling your home, that's a different way of looking at what the end result has to be. But if you're going to be living in it, you want to feel
the end result. You can still space that functions for sure.
Great. Well, thank you again so much. And like I say, I'll be sharing your information with everybody. And I really appreciate your time today.
Oh, thanks so much, Gwen. I'm really flattered you invited me. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. We'll be talking soon, just for me.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll be here.
Okay. Thanks.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
You
Bye
too.
now.